Good morning, everybody. This is Pauline Chung. I'm with the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to Business Essentials this morning. Today, we're privileged to have Peter Tandy, and his topic is, what are you hiding from? Why are you hiding from your customers? I'm sorry about that. Peter is with 143 Digital. He has 30 plus years experience in the internet advertising industry. He started in 1994 when the internet advertising industry launched with its first banner ad. So he could provide some history there. He's going to let us know what 143 Digital means, but I'm going to hand it over to Peter. Feel free, put questions in the chat. He has left time for a Q&A at the end, and I'll hand it over to him. And please stay muted during Peter's presentation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pauline, thank you for the invitation to address the San Mateo Chamber of Commerce, and thank you to all of you for joining me this morning. As Pauline stated, my name is Peter Tandy, and I'm the owner of 143 Digital. People ask me where the 143 Digital came about, and I will tell you that I grew up in the shadow of the George Washington Bridge. My dad was a home builder, along with my uncle, his brother-in-law. And my Uncle Al could never form the words, "I love you." So he would always say 143 to his children when he let them out of the car and let us out of the car when we went to grammar school. All of us would say, "I love you," and he would say 143. So because I love this business so much and I love what it does for my customers, I called my company 143 Digital. So I don't really want to give a speech today because a speech puts an awful lot of pressure on you and on me, because by definition, if I do a speech or a presentation, I've got to be interesting, and more importantly, you have to act interested. So I just rather have a conversation and act as if we're in our living rooms, which now that I think about it, we really are. So I'll tell you what, I'll just go first, and I'd like to reiterate what Pauline had asked in the initial stages, which is, why are you hiding from your customers? Why would you possibly want to make it more difficult for them to find you? I mean, we're all in business to make money, and when we hide from our customers, we have a really, really big challenge. So if I can hold your attention for the next 25 minutes, which I'm prayerful that I will be able to, you'll learn why search engine optimization is so important. You'll learn how Google ranks websites and why I believe your website is much more important than the real estate you're sitting in. I'll talk to you about why your site may not be ranking today, and I'll share some success stories of companies that I've worked with personally, and we'll talk about what could be done to solve your site challenges. We'll talk about what drives me every single day to get out of bed, and we'll talk about next steps at the end. So why is SEO so important? It's been and continues to be my belief that your website in today's economy, going back 20 plus years, is the front door to your business and is much more important than the office that you're housed in. When you have a website that's not optimized and is found on page 2 through 10 on Google, it's like having a billboard offering free overcoats in the middle of a snowstorm in downtown Minneapolis. You know, everybody wants to buy them, but nobody will see that you're advertising for it. So I'd like to share some sobering statistics about new and adolescent businesses. 20% of businesses fail in the first 12 months, 50% by year 5, and a whopping 96%, 9 out of 10, fail in the first 10 years. According to Guidance Financial, the biggest reasons for business failures are taking on too much debt, poorly managing your cash flow, a lack of an online presence, ineffective leadership, and trying to do everything yourself. And we're going to address that later on. So I absolutely know this for sure. There is no one, and I mean no one, except for a couple that I know that live in Burbank, that sit at home on their fluffy couch saying, honey, I'm a little bit bored tonight. Do you want to watch Wheel of Fortune, or should we see who's advertising on page 1 of Google? Nobody does that. Unless they're looking for information, most people who go to Google are people who have a problem or a need, and they have money in their pocket and are wanting to buy something from you. So there's just some interesting statistics, and they're really, really important. 9 out of 10 people online begin with a search engine. 9 out of 10 online experiences begin with search engines. Google currently holds 90% of the total search engine volume on the market today, followed by YouTube, which of course is owned by Google, Yahoo, Bing, and Amazon. Almost 90% of consumers trust online reviews as much as they trust a personal recommendation. And 80% of people perform some type of online search before making a large purchase. So think about what you are selling, which is typically, if you're belonging to the chamber or you're visiting today, is a large purchase. 70 to 80% of people ignore paid results, the paid ads, because they know the paid ads cost more money, so they equate that with their product being costing more. And then 75% of people never scroll past the first page of the search engine. 75% of people never scroll past the first page. And I'll go to the last one. Almost 60% of business to consumer marketers stated that SEO generates more leads than any other marketing initiative. Isn't that amazing? I think so. So what does that mean? It simply means that more clients are found, your clients, and more of your clients are found at the intersection of a high-performing website, findability on Google, and helpfulness of the website, what we call in the business user experience. You know, I've spent the last 25 years of my life involved in the advertising industry, both as a nationally known leader in client acquisition and retention, and as an owner of my own boutique agency. When I started in the Yellow Page business, it was at the time the original home shopping network. If you needed anything for your business or your home, you started in the Yellow Pages. So from the mid 1950s on through the 1990s, most people started their search in Yellow Pages on page 1. And that's where I learned the importance of authority, because people felt the #1 ad in the heading was the one that had the most authority. You know, my children, my son Michael is here today. My children are born of Yellow Page parents. But the only time my children have ever touched a Yellow Pages in their 25 and 24 years respectively is if they sat on it for Thanksgiving dinner. And today, quite frankly, if I gave my children a Yellow Pages, they would take their phone and they would prop it up there because they wouldn't know what to do with it. But they do know what to do with their phone when they're looking for business, and so does everybody else. They go to Google and they start and they stop their search on page 1. So Google's a search engine. They are competition, as I said before, with Yahoo, Bing, and Amazon. And they're only going to put people on page 1 when they climb through quote unquote Google hoops. So the most important SEO ranking factors, according to Google, so that they assure that their customer has a great user experience, are the following. 1, a secure and accessible website. You have to make sure that if somebody goes to your website, if they pass information on a credit card or anything like that, it's secure. 2, page speed. Google wants the page loading in under 3 seconds. The page has to be mobile friendly. Simply stated, if you go to your phone and you have to squint and squeeze information for it to appear on your website, Google's going to penalize you and put you way back in the search results. The age of your website proves authority to Google. So the older your website is, the better it is. The content on your website has to be optimized, meaning when you write content for your website, you have to make sure that the search engine optimization is there so that Google can pick up the content. And the technical SEO has to be spot on. And I do not want to bore you with technical stuff, but most importantly, your tags have to be correct, your H1 tags and your meta tag data, as well as all of your photos have to be tagged as well. We talked about user experience as it relates to Google, and you have to have incoming and outgoing links. It is not good enough to have a website sitting in the middle of hyperspace and the web with nobody going to or from it, because Google equates links with page authority, and page authority is the number one thing. Social signals. So you have to have a robust social experience on Facebook and LinkedIn specifically, but also Pinterest and others as well. And then you have to have real business information specifically that is there so that people can see new information when they go to your website looking for it. So if I may, I'm going to share some success stories of business owners that we have helped have an incredible advantage over their competitors by investing in page one presence. The slide above shows a website performance score after we worked on a website for my client Beisel Window and Doors in St. Paul and Minneapolis. You can see the marks for the website are A+, except for performance, which is because they've got a video that we just put on there, which we're cutting down right now. The results are impeccable. They're sitting in number one position. Let me see if I can show you this. They're sitting in the number one position under St. Paul Windows, right underneath the map section. You'll find them there for St. Paul Windows, Minneapolis Windows, as well as St. Paul Windows and Doors and home remodeling in every major suburb of the St. Paul area. This is the website for Infinity Spine Care and my friend, Dr. Michael Liu. When we met Dr. Liu, his website could be found on page 8. And his website, although pretty, did not have any search engine optimization content in it whatsoever. You can see that the headline on his website is Chiropractors in Belmont. Anybody want to take a reason why his headline is Chiropractors in Belmont? Well, the reason is because that's the number one search term that people use for finding chiropractors in Belmont. So the results are that he has the number one ranking for chiropractors in Belmont. He's also ranked for disc injury, chiropractic care, scoliosis in Belmont, headache and migraine in Belmont, as well as others. And the results are quite simply incredible. In less than pretty much 90 days, when you looked under chiropractors in Belmont, you found him on page 1. And he continues to sit there because we continue to invest money in making sure that he does. This website is for a client of mine in Denver called Denver South Chiropractic. Across the board, except for performance, you'll see A's and A pluses. Dr. Hightender has spent years and years investing in his search engine optimization because he absolutely knows that it works. So when you look for chiropractors in Denver, you'll find on page 1, Denver South Chiropractic and Rehab, the best chiropractors in the Denver area. It's exciting to me to have somebody who comes to me on page 8, 9, and 10, and for us to have the skill and the power to be able to move them to page 1 where their clients are looking for them. This page represents an overview of the search engine optimization content for cosmetic dentists of San Mateo. As you can see, across the board, their overall score is an A+. What you'll see in the results is outstanding. When you look for cosmetic dentists in San Mateo, there they are, right underneath the ads, which of course, as we talked about, not very many people click on because of the expense they associate with paid advertising. Now, this clinic, Extraordinary Smiles, is right down the street from the previous doctor. They're looking for the same patients who want to spend $5,000 to $10,000 on their health. What you see is not very good search engine optimization scores. And quite frankly, I could not find this dentist until I got to page 5 of the results. If I were the dentist, and believe me, after doing the research, I'm going to be calling him after we get done. When I think about what this dentist must feel like being on page 5, he's certainly wringing his hands because he's not getting as much business as the dentist that I showed you before. So what do we do to help our clients find their way onto page 1? Over the course of weeks and months, we, number one, make sure that their on-page search engine optimization, their search engine tags, their H1 tags, meta descriptions are all correct. We make sure that all of their photographs are tagged as well. Then over the course of the weeks and months, we rank 2 to 3 keywords per month after doing keyword research. We write original content for each of the keywords, somewhere between 500 to 1,000 words per as needed. And we write 2 to 3 blog posts per month. And people love this. We actually send press releases to 500 TV, radio, and media outlets across the United States, letting them know about the company. Google loves to hear about people that they're sending clients to. And so when we send out these press releases, Google's ears perk up. And then we clean up their citations. And by definition, citations are the name, address, and phone number. It might not be important to you to have your name, address, and phone number absolutely perfect across every single search engine, including Super Pages and yellowpages.com and Google and Yahoo, but it's critically important from Google's standpoint, quite frankly, because they believe that if you can't get your citations right, then you won't be able to get anything right on your website. So it's one of the first things we do is clean up your citations. We also send out 2,200 social signals in the forms of likes to websites like Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and others. And then on a daily basis, we build links between your site and other sites that we either own or sites that we can link to, so that Google sees that there's actually a web between your site and other sites that are also in the industry. It's incredibly important, but we do it because it's important to our results of our clients. So over the course of my career, I've personally worked and managed campaigns for Fortune 100 to 1,000 businesses, but today I work mostly with small to medium-sized businesses. These companies like Benjamin Franklin, Western Union, Denver South, Budget Blinds, the YMCA, and Rasmussen College have had significant results that are measurable in the forms of more clients and more revenue. The optimization tools that we have help these websites rank quickly, not overnight, but within 90 to 120 days. So most of you are thinking, well, you know what? My website is probably screwed up. I probably can handle this myself. I mean, I used I used the internet. I know how to search. I should be able to do it. I would say to you this: just because you can cut your own hair, it doesn't mean you should. And just because you can use the internet doesn't mean you're qualified to do search engine marketing and search engine optimization. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to share my thoughts and my passion about SEO with you this morning. And I want to leave you with a couple of more thoughts. When we started a little bit earlier, I told you that I would show you why search engine optimization is so important and how Google ranks websites. We talked about the importance of your website versus real estate and why your site may not be ranking. I showed you success stories of clients that I have, and I also instructed you on what can be done about the major challenge in your marketing efforts. And then what drives me every single day. So according to publications like the Wall Street Journal and Forbes magazine, as well as Search Engine Journal, there are about 10 and a half reasons why your business must have SEO, search engine optimization. Organic search is the most often the primary source of website traffic, and it also builds trust and credibility, which are very important to Google. Good SEO also means a better user experience, and local SEO means, please listen, increased engagement, traffic, and conversions to business. SEO impacts and speeds up the buying cycle, how long it takes the person to find you until they take out their credit card and or their checkbook. SEO's best practices are always being updated, so it's almost impossible for a lay person to do their own SEO work. SEO is relatively inexpensive. It's a long-term strategy and it's quantifiable. These magazines say that if you're not on page one, you need to be because you are losing money. So what do we do next? Well, you can put your head in the sand and hope the challenges resolve themselves, which is a horrible option. It's a horrible option. So I invite you to leave me a message in chat or go to my website at www.143digital.com and schedule a free website review. The website review will unveil to you where the challenges and where the holes are in your website itself. It's been an honor to have this conversation with you this morning. I have one more question for you this Halloween weekend. After all you've learned this morning, where would you say is the best place to hide a dead body should you come home and find one in your living room? Well, if you've paid attention, which I know you all have, you'll know that the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of Google's search results, because nobody in their right mind looks there. So thank you again. And I'd like to open up the meeting for questions.
Yeah, please feel free to unmute and ask Peter questions. There is nothing in the chat box right now.
Or no questions.
There are no questions? Everybody in shock? Everybody's on page 1 already?
I might have
Sue.
oh, it looks like Sue might have a question, but
Yeah.
she's
Sue's
struggling
muted.
to unmute.
Sue, can you unmute?
Yeah, I
There you
couldn't.
go.
My unmute wouldn't work.
Okay.
Peter, that was really, really good, and great to hear your approach. And I think it's really solid, and it's the cornerstone of what you should be doing. What would you say is appropriate in terms of people actually buying search terms? Because I mean, what you're saying is everything you're doing is you don't have to buy search terms, and you can get to the page 1. What role does buying search terms play in all?
It's a great question. Now, so are you asking me about search engine marketing where you use paid search? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking about that because it seems like if we work with you, we won't even have to use paid search at all. We can just keep getting on page 1. I mean, what role does paid search play?
Yeah, I always like to equate paid search with having a dependence on crack cocaine. There's a time and a place for paid search, maybe not for crack cocaine, but there's a time and a place for search engines, search marketing, if you're looking for immediate results. So paid search helps you get clients to your website immediately by paying for actually clicks on your website. So you're actually not paying for keywords, because keywords are found in your website when we write content for you, but you're actually paying for clicks to your website. And that's the difference between paid search, clicks to your website, and search engine optimization, which is the organic way to get people to your website by being on page 1 when they look for the keywords that are apparent for your business.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like you can negate that need for paid keywords and do it more cost effectively through search engine optimization.
I believe so, although we do offer both. I typically recommend to my clients do a long-term approach with search engine optimization. Keeping in mind that, again, that a lot of people don't even click on paid search because they think that it costs more to do business with that company.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And Carrie had a question.
You had mentioned that you put out about 500 press releases to about 500 different sources. How do you, if you've got a business that's very specialized, maybe somewhat technical, that most writers might not understand or know or have knowledge about, how do you go about getting content, and how does that work?
That's a
Put
great
out
question.
press releases.
Yeah, so we
And how does
partner
it
with.
help?
Yep. So we partner with our business owners to help write that press release. And the owners of the business have the responsibility to help us write information that the magazines and newspapers and radio stations will pick up. The reason it helps, quite frankly, even though most press releases are not read, R-E-A-D, read, is that, as I said before, Google loves to see that a website that they are highlighting on page 1 also has national press. So the 500 media outlets are all over the United States, and Google sees that as a wide-ranging push for information from our clients.